The elaboration likelihood model is a theory of persuasion that explains how people process and respond to persuasive messages. It suggests that there are two main routes to persuasion: the central route and the peripheral route. The central route involves careful thought and analysis, where a person considers the quality of the arguments being presented. The peripheral route, on the other hand, relies on surface-level cues, such as the attractiveness of the speaker or the emotional appeal of the message. Whether a person takes the central or peripheral route depends on their motivation and ability to process the information. If they are highly interested and able to think critically, they are more likely to engage in deep processing through the central route. If they are uninterested or distracted, they may rely on shortcuts through the peripheral route. The elaboration likelihood model was developed by psychologists Richard Petty and John Cacioppo in the 1980s. They wanted to understand why some persuasive messages lead to lasting attitude changes, while others have only temporary effects. Through their research, they discovered that the way people process persuasive messages depends on their level of involvement with the topic. They introduced the idea of two distinct routes to persuasion and explained that the central route leads to more stable and long-lasting changes in beliefs, while the peripheral route can create short-term agreement that fades over time. Their model became an important framework for studying persuasion and has been widely used in psychology, marketing, and communication studies. Now let's look at some examples of the elaboration likelihood model in action. Imagine someone is researching a new laptop to buy. If they carefully compare different models, read reviews, and evaluate the technical specifications, they are using the central route to persuasion. However, if they buy a laptop simply because their favourite celebrity endorses it, or because the brand has a catchy slogan, they are using the peripheral route. Another example is political campaigns. If voters listen to debates, analyse policies, and weigh the candidates' qualifications, they are processing the information through the central route. But if they choose a candidate based on their appearance, popularity, or emotional speeches, they are relying on the peripheral route. These examples show how persuasion works differently, depending on how much effort a person puts into thinking about the message. One strength of the elaboration likelihood model is that it explains why people respond to messages in different ways. It recognizes that not everyone is equally motivated or capable of processing information deeply, which helps explain why some messages persuade certain people while others remain unconvinced. Another strength is that the model accounts for both short-term and long-term attitude change. Persuasion through the central route is more likely to result in lasting beliefs, while persuasion through the peripheral route can create temporary agreement that may still influence behaviour in the moment. Additionally, the model has practical applications in many fields, including advertising, health campaigns, and education, where understanding how to persuade different audiences can lead to more effective communication strategies. One weakness of the elaboration likelihood model is that it does not always predict how people will respond to a message in real life. In some situations, people may switch between the central and peripheral routes based on factors that are difficult to measure, such as mood, distractions, or prior knowledge. Another weakness is that the model assumes people either use deep processing or rely on superficial cues, but in reality, persuasion can involve a mix of both. For example, someone might be influenced by logical arguments while also considering emotional appeals at the same time. Additionally, the model does not fully explain why some messages fail to persuade, even when processed through the central route. These limitations suggest that while the model provides a useful framework, it may not capture all aspects of persuasion. There are several alternative theories that explain how persuasion works differently from the elaboration likelihood model. One alternative is the heuristic systematic model, which also describes two routes to persuasion, but emphasizes that people can use both at the same time rather than choosing one over the other. Another alternative is social judgment theory, which focuses on how people compare persuasive messages to their existing beliefs and how messages that are too extreme may be rejected.